Okay, here you go.
Are you playing the song or something, or we
You
just
not hear
start
it?
like that?
Yeah, I just started it with the song going. We're good. We're
Okay,
live.
okay, hold on a second.
Or did I not share it?
All right,
The video.
it's in the chat. Okay, and just check it out. You can download it and then print it. That's the whole story on carts and pre-rolls with all the science behind it.
Well, welcome back. I'm sorry. I keep butchering fucking. I seen yeah, executive producer. I seen a song that he produced for us. I keep butchering it coming on and sharing it. How's everyone been? I don't know.
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
Summer's over. We're starting to get rain, so
Sorry.
this late in the year, so even usually you get to go to October, but this year up this part of the state, outdoor growers, you got to get serious about chopping your plants before the rain hits.
We had a little rain this week, but nothing too bad. Just enough to make things damp for a day.
Yeah.
I
We
used
get
to try
those
to get out
storms
and
that
give them a
come.
good shake after they got a little rain on them.
Yeah. What I'm not talking little rain. I'm talking these storms that come out of the Bay of Alaska and come rolling down the coast. And right below Vancouver, they make a left turn to head to New York. And so we're right under the path. And it's wet, it's cold, and that will really do a number on you get your buzz that wet 3 days in a row, you know.
Apparently we're gonna get apparently the south is gonna be dry and hot and the north is gonna get pounded this year by snow
Yeah.
and cold. That's what I've been hearing on the weather network predicting and stuff around these parts. So we're supposed to just get slaughtered with snow this year. It's supposed to be super cold up here up this way.
Yeah, you should download that article. I'm serious. Um, you're not going to get this from the bud. I love that title, bud tender at Joe's dispensary. Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't have much experience dealing with bud tenders. We don't cross paths. I don't go in their place. They don't come in my grow. It works out.
Yeah.
I went a couple times to the SKDC to get some hash, and they were quite good. They,
I,
they, they can just guide you through the menu, and that's pretty much it. But they cannot say much. So that's the problem over here. They really restrict on what they can say.
I guess
oh,
though. I didn't
there's
realize
no
that they
rule.
were.
There's no
Sorry.
rules here. Okay. And another thing I learned, let's say you have a strain called blah, blah, blah. Okay. And it's like really popular and it goes through its cycles, right? And now you don't change the strain, you just change the name. And this is done all over by the time it goes from Ohio out to Oregon and Oregon to Ohio and then on to, Wisconsin. I'm talking about dispensaries. I'm not talking about Joe. I'm going to get rich growing weed in my garage. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the industry, the real industry. Okay. All this shit goes on constantly because if you're going to get it in a cart, could you really tell the difference? Or a pre-roll? You know. Oh,
I mean, fair
strawberries.
enough. I mean, like, you're really asking one question. I'm like, did it work or not? Like, because
Yeah.
that really was it.
So if all of a sudden strawberry is a big deal, then come out with strawberry kush. I mean, this is fucking easier than hell. Okay. And like you said last week, you go in a dispensary, you can't smell it. You can't.
You can't
Oh,
smell
it's
it, taste
sealed
it,
up.
touch it, nothing.
In a
Not a
It's a
bit.
container.
it's a manufactured product. I mean, it's no more serious than it. I mean, this isn't like sitting around. Well, we're going to listen to, I don't know, whatever. I want to get some really good weed. This isn't that at all. This is, maybe Susie will show me her tutors if I get some, cartridges. Or I can go,
Well,
I can go on, get a YouTube channel or TikTok, tell everybody how stoned I am for this really good weed, or something.
I always had a theory when I was out in the clubs that like there was no way to look cool putting a straw into your mouth, right? So I wouldn't use a straw. It usually in the dark it would end up in your nose or something terrible, right? Absolutely. But it's the same thing with a cart. I mean, you can't really look cool hitting a cart. Where I don't think there's any way to like there's it's just another extension. I don't know. It's just I don't know. We're here. I mean, 85% of the people buy them now. So I mean, can I guess yeah, 85% of people can be wrong, but
Oh yeah, they can. Sure they can. I
I mean,
mean,
when you get a good card, I suppose.
otherwise you wouldn't have Kias and Hyundais. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
those are
Okay.
for people who've never worked on a car.
Right. Yeah, right, exactly. No, that whole thing about, well, if it's popular, it must be good. Hey, Mickey D's isn't good, but they
But sure is fucking popular.
check that. Okay. They own, I'm going to round up a little bit, not much. They own 49, the corporation. They own the building, they own 50,000 buildings, and
Yeah.
you apply to be a franchise, you get a sign. You don't get to go, well, no, I want it on First and Main. It doesn't work that way. You get one of their buildings. So
Yeah.
they own free and clear 50,000 McDonald restaurants in their chain. And they said this 65 years ago. We're not in the hamburger business. We're in the
Yeah,
real
we're the
estate
real
business.
estate business. Oh yeah.
Okay. Because the franchisee, they're the ones that set the price for their store. McDonald's doesn't, because they're going to get a commission. You got to buy the food from them because you
You
got to
got to
have the
buy the
right
food from them.
everything. Yeah. Okay. And believe me, in food service, if you can't make 20% gross, not make, if you can't gross 20% in produce, you're not Sicilian. You don't belong in the business. Okay. And that's just the way it is, man. You know how many Tonys I met and his cousin Anthony, and Guido and Jesus. Yeah, 20% is 20 to 25% is your markup. Now
That's I mean,
that's going to be offset by five. This is where you
you're
make
gonna
the
have
break,
yeah.
shrinkage, rotted, because you overbuy. I mean, you don't buy a whole truckload of turnips, I can tell you that. Uh, but things like, because you have to have the stuff. Okay, here's the deal with the grocery business, at least in America. I don't know about Canada, but in America, 5 items are 80% of your sales in produce. 5 items.
Oh,
Well, what about that other stuff? It's eye candy. For example, if you buy habanero chilies, a bright orange or the red ones, the Sabinos, okay, makes your rack look nice because they use special lighting that really brings out the color. And so when you go in the store, you go, wow, look at all this. 5 items are 80% of sales. I'll tell you what they are. Tomatoes. Oh, bananas is the number one in every grocery store operation
yeah, I
in the
believe that.
United States. Bananas are the big one. Okay, the next one is oranges, apples, iceberg lettuce, and celery.
Yeah, yeah, I believe it. I believe it. 100% on the bananas.
Oh my God. Most corporations like Kroger and Safeway and Albertsons and Fred Meyer's, uh, excuse me, Walmart, the banana operation is a wholly owned subsidiary for tax purposes. It's that unreal.
Holy.
The volume is unreal because every culture eats bananas. So it doesn't matter what, say, take the immigrant community. It doesn't matter where you're from, you eat bananas.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true.
And here's another one too. The banana's a berry. I know botany's weird. Don't ask. Like for example, aloe vera is a member of the lily family.
I have to Google this banana berry.
I think there's something like 300 varieties around the world of bananas.
Have you found any banana, Wes and John?
Well, he is exactly right. It says banana is both a fruit and botanically speaking, a berry. So yes, it
How
is.
many species does it say that? Mention it? Or yeah, I
Uh,
mean, yeah.
does not say. There's thousands. There's thousands.
Oh, wait a minute. I've got chat open. I can ask that. That's a good question for chat. Um,
Huh.
Botanists recognize over 1,000 varieties worldwide. I was way off. I said 300 is 1,000. Now that doesn't mean they're all in production.
No, no, no. Most
You know,
wouldn't be in
yeah.
production.
All right. But like in India, it's nothing to
Well,
have
like
20, 25 varieties at a grocery or a stall at the produce market.
we, well, like look at us with potatoes. There's from South America. There's over 6,000 types of different types of potatoes, and we
320.
effectively grow one. Like
Yep.
we grow the Rust at Burbank, and we were talking about McDonald's because McDonald's requires perfectly straight long fries, and that makes the best fries.
Right.
So like the farmers are forced to produce that because that's all that is desired.
Well, here's how all French fries are made. All. So you have to have the right species when you go to the packing houses. And the trucks are unloaded and they're floated in water and whatever's in the water to clean them, get the mud off. Then they go through and they're peeled, tumbled on, it doesn't matter. And now you get in and they're cut into fries. And now you put them in canola oil, the Canada canola oil. And you don't fry them, you boil them. And when the thing is completely saturated with canola oil, then it goes through a draining rack, drains it. Now you pack it, flash freeze it, and now you put it in this for ready to go out to the stores. When it gets to the store, remember you got all this canola oil and flavorings and the canola oil. So you grab the French fries if you ever worked in a fast food place, and you drop them into what? A fryer
Yep.
that has what? Canola oil. Okay. And now you fry them, and fat feels good on our tongue, even if it's not good flavor. As soon as it's like, oh wow, these are really good. Throw some salt on there, and then now if you add some seasoned salt, I mean, you got something going, you know.
Yeah, you've hit a couple flavor zones. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're hardwired to look for them sweet, salty,
right. Yeah,
fatty.
exactly. Because fat was good energy.
Or we're talking about berries, or we're like they'll put that red dye 40 in like everything because we are hardwired to fucking think things taste better if they're a little bit redder, and
Mhm.
so they'll just like flood us with that crap.
Shout out to Justin Bean. Get well soon.
Yeah, man.
Who is that?
It's a guy who's been following the show for a long time. He's dealing with some health stuff right now. So
Yeah, I got an email from his daughter. Yeah, exactly what she said.
yeah,
That's what he said.
just saw him in chat and figured I'd say, hey, what's up?
I'm gonna have to, and not, I will respond to her message or either message or email. I don't remember which.
Not a good day if your name is Charlie Kirk, though.
So I feel bad for his kids. That's who I feel
Yeah,
bad for.
I feel bad for the kids, but the rest of them are pretty evil.
yeah.
You spread that much hate all the time, someone's bound to get pissed off enough about it to do something.
That's the way it works.
When you make your career out of hate, hate will find you.
Except you get what you give in this world,
Yep.
you know.
What
This is a violent. I mean, just think in the last 10 years, how many children have been killed in school. I mean, just and all you get is a shrug of the shoulder. Well, our thoughts and prayers are with them. Oh, good. Yeah, that'll help.
well, and they in the 80s they got rid of all the mental asylums, but they didn't replace them with something, right? So you
Nope.
have no social safety net for people that are troubled or
Yep.
disturbed or people that even reach out for help. I know when I had like my mom died and a whole bunch of other shit happened, it was hard for I tried to find a therapist, and even that was brutally difficult. And it was like,
Yeah.
and I had access to resources and money, so it was like, well, what the hell does someone that has less resources do? And that's super fucked. Like, we shouldn't be this rich of a country and not have resources for people that need mental health services. Like, this is
Yeah,
fucking
but
like.
you know why we got rid of the asylums, right? Was
Well, I'm
because
not saying that they weren't gotten rid of for good reason.
well
You have to
they
replace
did a
them with
study
better
where
stuff.
they put these like sane people in, and like the asylums hands down could not identify them, and actually put them into like stricter care, like so like they actually, yeah, they could not tell the difference between sane and insane, like the patients that the participants that they put into it were told to act crazy till they got there. As soon as they got there, act as sane as could be to everybody, and they couldn't identify who was sane and who wasn't.
Yeah.
And I'm not
So
saying that there wasn't major issues with that before, but you need to replace a bad thing with something that's better, right? Or at least
fair
something else.
enough. I know, yeah, some
Like,
sort of
I mean,
social network.
Explain to me
yeah.
how the whole uh North European countries, Sweden, Finland, are able to run mental hospitals that aren't warehouses, that aren't that don't degrade that life. I mean, it's a lack of will.
Yeah, it's even worse in Asia. Like, try to find mental health
Yeah.
services anywhere in Asia. Good fucking luck.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even believe that it's like a thing. They like refuse to even recognize it. It's fucked.
Scandinavian was the word I was grasping for, Scandinavian countries.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see what happens. And there's are you guys going to any of the like full harvest events or anything, or any cannabis events in any at all between now and the end of the year? I'm gonna try and make it out to BizCon. Jim, you should come out, man, and I'll film you. We can do like Captain Calmag goes to BizCon. We can make
Yeah.
have a good old time.
Yeah.
I'll
It's
tell you what,
never been cheaper.
if you convince Jim to go, I am in too. I'll be right there.
That would be so much fun. Like watching Jim just fuck with all these assholes would be the funniest
I
fucking.
will find a way if Coot's going.
I
It would be like Curb Your Enthusiasm, Weed Edition.
okay, since you know the guy, Poden, this will really crack you up.
Sure.
So before he arrived at Instagram to prove how really stupid he really was, under the name of Scotty Granola, he wanted to do a Canacon, one of their, their traveling circus, the weed show thing. Okay, so he contacts Tad Hussey at Kiss Organics because Tad Hussey and the jack off that rode Teaming with Microbes, Lowenfels, they used to do presentation. They would go to the various, when it'd go from Detroit to Chicago and all that, they would attend them, and I guess they were, I don't know, compensated or something. So one day I get a phone call from Tad, and he says, "Boy, I got a deal for you." And I said, "What's that?" He said, "How would you like to go to Denver?" I think it was Denver, for the Canacon. I said, "What's that?" And he tells me. And I said, "Well, they got the name right." And he says, "Yeah, there's a guy there that wants to debate you." And I said, "Yeah, okay, who's that?" He said, "Well, you might know him from Instagram." Well, I don't know. Who? He says, "Scotty Granola." And I just thought, oh God, this would be so much fucking fun. Well, unbeknownst to me, Tad told him, "You might want to, check out Jim's uh I had an Instagram feed at that time, his Instagram feed, and are you sure you want to do this?" Kind of thing. And he watched enough that he said, "No, I don't want to do it." Oh my God, what a pussy. Yeah.
He was at the first region conference we did there in Portland, and he was such a prick to everybody, and like just wouldn't listen to anyone else had to say. Like just gave no fucks, just like thought he was the only one that knew any answers to anything. And it was like, dude, like, if anyone wants to see a really hilarious comedy show, check out the two. He did a part one and a part two thing on Future Cannabis Project where I trolled him, and he had an absolute meltdown both times. And he spent over 50% of his time talking about me. It was
Oh,
he just
I
doesn't know
grabbed
his
his.
science, right? So if you go start citing sources and stuff, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He just does his
No.
own bullshit.
Okay, he had, unbeknownst to me, he had it was either Patreon, one of the ones where you had to have a subscription. Okay, so
OnlyFans.
I think it was something like Patreon anyway. And he had a garden.
It was an only mids account.
Huh?
It was an only mids account.
Yeah, right. So he has a channel, and I'm certainly not I wouldn't pay anybody $5 a month to go look at their weed plants. You know, I got enough pictures of my own. Anyway, make a long story short, pictures from his garden came into my hands. And so I immediately put them up on my Instagram page. And, you know, some smart ass shit. And the guy went ballistic, just fucking ballistic. Uh, yeah, what a clown. And he's the one that came up with the microbial collapse. And yeah, I told him one time, he was at a show here in Portland. I said, this isn't a gay thing, is it? Microbial collapse? And he didn't get it. Oh no, prolapse, I said, a microbial prolapse. Here's the deal. Okay. He paid, according to him, not me, him, he paid $8,500 to become a soil microbiologist, which consisted of riding around in a car for 3 days with the queen of compost teas. And oh, here's the this and here's the that. And all of a sudden, he gets a certification probably from Home Office Depot, you know, where you just fill it in. And now all of a sudden, he's a biologist. And like Poden said, the guy doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground. He did a whole bunch of shows with the Future Cannabis Project, a bunch. And it had to be for its comedic value. I mean, the guy doesn't know his fucking ass from a hole in the ground. And now he's doing, what is it? Sprouted seed teas, SSTs. Well,
At
that's
least
what
he's actually
Barbara.
onto something now.
Well, okay, here's the deal. When you use the word malt relative to a grain, all it means is that you sprouted it and then you
And then-
dried it
Yeah, absolutely.
at a very precise point that keeps the majority of the enzymes intact and at full power. When you take what he's doing, which is sprouting like you do mung beans.
Yeah.
In fact, you can use mung beans. Okay. So if you sprout a grain, you get a big long white tail. Okay. The enzymes that you wanted from the initial germination, that's the ones you want because it's doing a whole bunch of chemical processes. Once the taproot gets going, those original enzymes get deconstructed, you know, whatever. So there's no advantage of doing it. It's just in his feeble mind. And what a fucking mess. Or you can go to a home brew store and get some goddamn barley malt and put it in a coffee grinder, bean, you know, thing, and grind up barley and you're done. But no, now you gotta buy the bucket, you gotta have the aerator, you know, you gotta go through this whole thing. See, he learned that from Ingham. It isn't all about getting the knowledge, man. You got to get them hooked on a device, a something. Okay.
My tea aerator that only stirs it in counterclockwise.
Yeah. Okay. My favorite story, there's three brothers in Southern Oregon that have been growing like way back in the 90s, right? And so around 2000 or 2002, something like that, the oldest brother, you know, he was the leader, you know, the alpha male in this story. And he's going to buy or have built by Ingham's company, Soil Food Web, right? A 300-gallon brewer. And I pleaded with him not to do it. I said, this is the biggest fucking waste of money you will ever spend. And then they spent thousands. This wasn't like a couple hundred, this was thousands. Okay. And they were growing in big pots. They were growing 800,000 gallon pots. Okay. 3 times it got used before they put it on a pallet and used the forklift and put it in the garage or the barn. This was like a 100-acre farm. Okay, and they never used it again. Never fucking used it again. 3 applications. And so I always kept, so did you see any difference? No. Okay.
Dang.
I've been in greenhouses where every plant was covered like snow with mold. Well, we've been doing high fungal teas. Oh, well, you might want to try something else. Uh, and when you start digging around the archives of universities, like Baylor spent 6 years testing compost teas, 6 years. Couldn't
Yeah.
find a single reason to continue. One, at University of Connecticut, they compared, you're gonna love this.
Well, my only thing was, why not just put the compost directly on the fucking soil?
Because
Like,
it's not about the compost, it's about the device. You get to
I
sell
know,
the tea brewer.
but
Okay, that's the whole game. The science isn't even there. This is beautiful. University of Connecticut. It's a graduate student. This is her dissertation for a PhD, right? And around the world, the biggest pathogen that farmers and gardeners have to deal with is powdery mildew. And that's because there's like 3,900 species.
absolutely.
Okay. So she bought high fungal tea from Kiss Organics, okay, the creator of the first commercial tea brewers back in 2001, okay? She got some baking soda, which is calcium, no, I'm sorry, sodium bicarbonate, right?
Yep.
And she got some soured milk. So you got some lactic acid, right? And this is at a university, so it's controlled out. Everything's fucking controlled. This isn't like, in your garage and blah, blah, blah. Here was the order. The high fungal tea, worthless. Nothing. 0. The next was really, really good results with baking soda. A tablespoon per gallon of water. Have you ever heard of a product called Green Care? Okay, that's made with potassium bicarbonate. In bakeries, they'll use that instead of sodium bicarbonate because now they can advertise it as salt-free. Okay, or low salt. Okay. And so anyway, that's what I'm saying. And Green Cure was $30 a pound back in the day. And all it was potassium bicarbonate. Or you could buy a 50-pound bag from a baking supply for about $16. 50 pounds versus 30 for one. Okay, and the soured milk came in number 1. So the bottom line is just take some milk, set it on the counter, let it sit for a couple of days. You're moving and grooving, baby. And if you separate the curds from the whey, now you got the whey is what you want.
Yeah.
That because that's got all the lactic acids and the enzymes and what have you.
Agreed. That's the good stuff.
Yeah, you have to do the rinse with the rice.
Well, that's a whole different thing. You talking about KNF, that kind of deal?
To make the lactobacillus.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just saying, yeah, cheese, you can't do that. Cheese had, in other words, the lactic acid bacteria that creates Parmesan cheese is not the one you would use to create cheddar cheese or mozzarella or, see what I mean? There isn't one, there's like hundreds of labs that will create cheese.
I'm a big fan of IMO, which is the fungal collections. But yeah, like I don't really make regular compost tea anymore. I'll make labs and things like that,
Oh, yeah, right.
but IMO, but compost tea, not so much these
Yeah.
days. I do like the protozoa tea, where you take like the fresh grass, you cut a bunch of fresh
Mhm.
grass tops, and then do that for feeding the higher trophic levels in your soil. Like
Okay,
I
let
think
me be clear. Let me be clear.
positive, but regular
What I'm
compost.
talking about is the whole basis of Lowenfeld's book, that you can take this cup of tea and put it in water and aerate it, and all of a sudden it's all puppies and butterflies and, you know, singing in the rain and all that shit, right? And the fact of the matter, it isn't. It's a fucking joke. At the very university where it was created, Oregon State University, they ran 5 tests over 10 years. It doesn't work. There's no there. I mean, it's interesting to say fungi. What does that mean? Some fungi, they got to remove your leg. Another fungi gets you higher than a kite. I mean, you can't just take a word like this, like saying wood. I'm going to build a house out of wood. Well, I wouldn't want to do it with a mahogany, you know. I mean, hey, look, one thing in the stoner world, all you got to do is grab a name of something. If you can figure out how a machine that can plug in and make noise, you know, and things bubble. I remember when that whole compost tea crowd, there was a bunch of them. This was online. We're in an argument about the size of the air bubbles would determine the potency of. I mean, are you fucking kidding? We're talking about manure, okay, and water. Oh no, it's real special. Yeah, okay.
I know
And we, you know,
the only
when you were in the
argument.
aquarium business, you know what I'm talking. You can get all kinds of air stones with
Oh yeah,
different sized bubbles, and this was a big deal with amongst the people that really knew.
yeah, but
And I
the nano bubbles cause a lot of problems with iron and other things that are oxygen reactive. So like if you have like
yeah.
DTPA iron, for instance, in a liquid solution or hydro or aquaponics, like you're gonna hyper oxidize that iron at a rate much faster with the nano bubbles than you will with the regular bubbles because they have more surface area. So you end
Well,
up with
the
faster.
premise of the compost tea is that you had genuinely correctly made thermophilic compost, not a bag of steer manure from Walmart. Okay, and then you would use that and add a couple things, but nothing like what you're talking about. Okay, about
Yeah,
we're not adding salts or anything.
sure,
And then
sure.
you bubble it for this stupid period of time. And people were buying microscopes and just all kinds. They had no fucking idea what they were looking at. They just saw shit moving under the microscope, and they were happy. But yeah, you were going to spend with the microscope and everything. You were going to spend $600-700 to do what? To bubble manure? I don't know.
I have a I have a triscope like 4 feet from me right now.
I don't
But
know.
I like to look at my different weird microbial batches that I'm making because I like to mad scientist up a little bit. So that's a little different, but I did find it funny.
In the most classic sense, in 2016 in this state, when they went legal with growing commercially, It was a gold rush. Outside investors couldn't throw money fast. They wanted in on the deal, man. They wanted in on the fucking deal. Yeah, well, it didn't pan out. I can't begin to tell you how many licenses got returned after one season. You, they were whining about 500 a pound. That was the average, was 500 a pound. They were expecting 24. They were expecting a buck and a half an ounce uh, to sell to the brokers. And then it came in at under 500, about 485. So yeah, $30 an ounce. And that by yeah, today it's much, much, much lower.
Yeah, you can get pound at 200, right?
You can't get $200 anymore. It's down around $10 an ounce. But if you're going to do, here's how it works. Let's say, okay, so if you sell to a broker by pound, that's what you're going to get. But if you pay to have it, well, you don't pay, they pay you. But anyway, to have it turned into pre-rolls, just use that as an example because that's the easiest. That's the easiest one. The other stuff has to be whatever to do, like cartridges and gummy bears and all that stuff. But on the pre-rolls, they give you a buck and a half. It's 1 gram pre-rolls, and they bring the machine, they bring the papers, whatever. They bring the materials to do this, and then they spit them out, and you get a buck and a half. So let's say you get exactly 448 grams, right? So a buck and a half times 448 is going to be a little bit over $700. What a deal.
Pretty cheap.
What was that? Sorry, I had someone else talking to me.
I was just talking.
But yeah, they
Prices.
have the brokers that sell the terps mixes, they sell it by brand name. For example, you can get Gorilla, what is it called? Gorilla Glue? No. Whatever, Blue Dream. You get all the individual flavor units and they pre-mix it. And so now you can spray that on there. Or you can send your own recipe. So
Yeah,
now you got a new strain.
I'm pretty sure there's a strain like that.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying the terpenes, it's legal. You can get them on Amazon.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's a retail price, but for the farms that are handling, an acre now, well, I don't know, other states are different, but I'm just talking about here, under the licensing here. So yeah, pre-rolls and cartridges, that's where the money's at, because that's what the customers want. People aren't walking in dispensaries wanting flowers. It's a very small component of the deal.
What else are you guys up to? We're just tying all the rest up together to start up production. Hopefully, get some stuff out in the stores in October, November. What have you guys been up to with your cannabis related things?
Oh, I've been smoking it.
Yeah, by smoking some hash also.
Yeah, I don't grow anymore, so I don't. Yeah, I stay out. So. I get a check every week from Build a Soil for my commission on gnarly barley. And let's see. That's as close as I get to the deal. I can't watch any more weed programs. Like they're all gone. I mean, you got to remember there was like Dirt Matt or Dirtbag Dan or something like that. He had a show, and is Final Cut Pro still doing
I
it?
like Dirt Man Dan.
Yeah, he was cool. Yeah, I was on a show a few times.
I haven't. Is that show still around? What was that? Organic something? Embracing Organics, isn't it?
Yeah. That was it. Yeah.
That's
He
right.
was from Philadelphia, I think, or Pittsburgh, something like that. And then that guy,
From he was in North Philly. In fact, I went to go visit him
oh,
when
cool.
my mom passed away. I went and had dinner with him and his ex.
Yeah, he just dropped out. I mean,
I know Tanasi kind of kept it going for a while.
oh, is that, wasn't he like a panel member, permanent or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Let me see when the last episode was.
Probably about 3 years, I would imagine. See how close I am.
I think it was like before I left for Thailand.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. For sure it was,
Yeah.
absolutely.
2 years ago. End of an era.
Just 2 years?
2 years ago, yeah.
Oh, I was way off.
It was on, oh, it doesn't have the date on here. Oh, February 10th, 2023.
Oh, there you go. 2 years.
And that was the second group of people I seen turn on Fumi.
Then there was a Michigan show, and there was a couple guys on there that were really nice. I can't remember their names, but yeah, that was a fun show. It was a little, well, the name was in there. It was Michigan, so obviously that was the conversation. And if you weren't from Michigan, you didn't know what they were talking about as far as this politician or, you know how that works.
Yeah.
The sheriff over here in blah blah county is an asshole, but the guy in this county isn't, that kind of stuff, and wouldn't mean much if you didn't live there. So
Yeah, it was at Michigan Grow Bros. I think they're still around.
yeah. The one guy, he came on Fumador show a couple times. Can't remember his name, but
There's Let's Be Buds. They're on usually kind of right before we are on Wednesdays. There's Grandmaster Level Show, which is on Saturdays. Got Hash Church on Sundays. I'm still doing some episodes, but I'm kind of all over the
the
place.
Hash Church, is that still going?
Hash Church is still around. You should get on
Oh,
there
good.
sometime. You should reach out to Marcus.
Yeah, it's
That would be fun.
yeah, that would be.
Some of your favorite people are regulars on there.
Oh, I know. Fuck them. They can't take a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of, let's see.
Lost
Never
We
mind.
lost Skunkman Sam and Wade Laughter this year.
Yeah,
much.
wow.
Two
Yeah.
staples. It's a shame what happened to Wade. He was a good dude.
Well, the guys that really started this thing in the late 70s, the Humboldt County, the whole camp era in the 80s, and people like me up here in Oregon and what have you. Well, we're all gone. I mean, we're leaving, just most of us didn't live real healthy lives, you know. So, but my point is that, you know, I was one part of the younger set, so I'm 75. So those guys that started this, a lot of them got to be in the 80s if they were alive. And, you know, this
No.
life changes, you know, and all of a sudden you're dealing with diabetes and dementia. I'm not, but you know what I'm saying? Just the whole cannabis thing, it's real foreign to people that came out of that era because it was a different phenomenon. It wasn't a commercial product. And I don't know if it was any good or not. Maybe it wasn't, but there was an anti-establishment factor to it. You know, you were smoking weed, you weren't drinking beer. You know what I mean? It was just a different. Um, yeah, it was just different. I'm not saying it was better. It's just different. Every generation will define how they're. Every generation since time immemorial has gotten high on something. And so it just goes in and out of, you know, depends what part of the world you're at or in a whole bunch of factors, but altering the consciousness isn't unique to Americans or is I think it's kind of unique to youth and some never outgrow it. I'm not saying that's bad either. I'm just, you know. One thing about alcohol, you don't last. If you start drinking when you're 18, like heavy,
Yeah, you don't.
Um,
Yeah,
by the time you're in your early 30s, you're in big trouble.
yeah.
Obesity, diabetes, you know, the whole 9 yards. Drunk driving, probably been busted a few times, you know, those are expensive little, I don't know about Canada, man. A D, different states call them different things, but driving while intoxicated, DWI is
Yeah.
what they call it
Yeah,
here.
DUI. Yeah, we call them here.
Yeah.
Dewey's.
Driving under the influence, right? I'll tell you, it's $10,000 on your first one. By the time you do the attorney thing, pay the fine, court costs and that, it's about 10 grand. And then don't do a second and third. In some states, I mean Texas, you can do like serious time. And if like an accident, and you hurt somebody, oh fuck, I mean you could do 20 years.
That's great.
It's the leading cause of death, car accidents is alcohol related. The only thing worse than for a drunk to be on it, driving a car is a motorcycle. You got to have your balance. You got to have your focus if
Yeah.
you're going to be on a, especially one that's got a lot of power. You know,
Really, anyone because you're not protected by a cage.
no.
So.
I got into a real nasty motorcycle accident there in Thailand, broke my shoulder to shit and all the rest of it.
Jesus.
That was just wasn't even being reckless. I was doing like 45 on a turn and just hit a patch of dirt on the back of the tire and it kicked out on me. Hit a tree. It's not fun. Like I would ride a bike if I had to ride a bike. Like I'm not afraid to get back on a bike, but I'm not buying a bike again. Like, you know what I mean?
I wasn't
Yep.
even hurt, but I just had, I'm really embarrassed to tell you this, but okay, so I was 18, just out of high school, and I got a bike. And it was a piece of shit, you know, it was like 16-year-old Triumph, a 200 or 250, something like that. And so I was making this left-hand turn and I hit, don't ask, but anyway, I didn't hit the street. I hit the curb and I went flying over the top of the handlebars. I never got on a bike again. That's it. You know, I'm not cut out for this. So I stayed away.
Yes.
I bet you got some really cool old restored English bikes up there in Canada. You know, like the
Um,
early ones from Great Britain, you know, like Triumph and I can't think of all of it.
I got a friend that has an old Triumph, and then somebody has another old Avella with a sidecar on it. But I don't know too
Okay,
many
that was
guys
the
that.
one I was thinking of. Yeah.
There's everybody else is just Harley heads up here, really. The
Boy, is
odd
that,
Indian.
you know, they released a electric bike.
Oh yeah.
You talk about a shit bomb. Part of the deal of owning a Harley ride is that sound.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
sound is like associated with
Iconic, absolutely. Yeah.
exactly.
A
And
straight
now
pipe Harley.
worse than that was the Dodge Charger. Did you hear about that one, the electric?
Yeah, I seen that. I seen the
It plays
complete
the
flop.
engine sound through the speakers. I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's an $80,000 disaster. Hey, the EV market. So Canada and China in this pissing battle over EV cars out of China into Canada? No. And so China put this huge tariff on canola oil. Okay. So anyway, they were following the United States on that deal. Keep Chinese EVs out of North America. That's what it came down to.
Yep.
So your illustrious prime minister is negotiating a deal with China. Like anyway, they're going to drop their tariffs. So these really good Chinese EVs will be coming in that are
BYD ones. Yeah.
yeah, that's exactly that brand
Yeah. Those
specifically.
those are nice. They're nice looking. Yeah.
China right now makes 38 billion cars a year. 38 billion. They got this down. That one BYD it's under $20,000, which in the that's really inexpensive for an EV. And it has a 500 or 600-mile range.
Pretty good.
They're really big in Europe. They don't have Europe's really got mostly. I'm talking about Western Europe, mostly free trade. You know, they don't. They've been doing this for centuries. I mean, they were
Yeah.
sending out ships in what the 1400s looking for spices and gold and shit. You don't get caught up in these tariff games. It's a non-win for both sides.
Truly. Yeah.
Well, think about this. Canada, the geography. You have Washington, and then you're in British Columbia. Okay. Well, there's a problem. Alaska's north of British Columbia. So if to get things into Canada, you got three choices. You got the Alcan Highway.
Yep.
You got ships that leave Seattle on barges, really, and they push them along the coast up to Alaska, or you fly it in. Obviously, one of those is really expensive. Okay, the flying it in, air freight. So British Columbia, I don't know your laws. I don't quite understand how the Federation works. So anyway, there's something that British Columbia can assess their own tariff or charge for the road, a toll.
Yep. Yep.
You have to go through British Columbia to get to Alaska if you're going on the Alcan Highway. And if they put a tariff, you can imagine we're talking Alaska, think the tundra, 300 miles north of you.
Yeah.
we used to load trailers, reefers, and then we'd take them into the port of Seattle, and they put them on barges and take them up to Alaska, and then hook a tractor under them, pull them around for delivery. That's why their food is 40% more for the same item than it is in the lower 48. 40%.
Hmm.
Hey,
That's pretty good.
Evening, y'all.
Good evening.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
how you doing?
Doing all right. Doing all right. Thanks. How about yourself?
Oh, real good.
Yeah, there you go. I'm smoking on some OG. From out Pacific Northwest. It's just it's the guy's name that said he got it. So, but he was with Gage Green, and then he was also with what's his name? Subcool. And so I don't know what's in this OG, but it's pretty good. Kind of that old school psychedelic body stone, you know?
Yeah.
Good shit.
Humboldt
Yeah.
got most
What's that, Humboldt?
Humboldt got most of the notoriety, in the media in the 80s and 90s. And I would add that it's the same climate. Southern Oregon and Northern Cal is the same.
Oh, shit.
It's the same drill.
Is it?
Oh yeah.
I'm sure.
There's always been going back into the 60s, good growers in Oregon. They just kept their mouths shut. We didn't have helicopters flying over like they did in Humboldt during the campaign against marijuana planting during the Reagan administration. It was
Oh,
a
yeah.
war zone, man. A fucking war zone.
Wild.
Talk to the old timers. I mean, you just come flying over like Vietnam.
Right?
These weren't like news helicopters. These were gunships.
Wow. That's crazy. Over a fucking plant. You
A
know what I
really,
mean?
really bad plant.
Yeah, a really evil plant. Killing everybody. Don't you know? Yeah, I'm excited to be popping some of these. I got some Sour Dub 2.0. I got some Sour Bubble. These are all from Bog. A guy worked them from Bog's line.
Bushy old
Uh,
grower?
Pardon?
Bushy old grower?
No, this is Golden Road Seed Company. This is Marcus Aurelius.
I thought you said bog.
Yeah, Bog. Yeah, he got them from Bog.
Yeah, it's bushy old. I'm asking, is that bushy old grower?
Yeah.
I think yes, yes.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah, sorry about that, Jim. I didn't know what you were saying. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
he
Yeah.
crossed
Okay.
he back crossed his sour double, and now he calls it sour dub 2.0. So he kind of, and then I
Wait a
bought
minute.
some of that. So that's cool.
Refresh my memory. Isn't he the guy that lived in a cave?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty.
Could have.
That was a long time ago. Never mind.
Oh, that's
Because
okay.
there was a Canadian board back in the 90s called overgrow.com.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And there were some really heavy duty, the original crew in Canada. And they also owned a seed company called, was it Heaven's Stairway or Stairway to Heaven? Anyway, it was two seed companies owned it. And then it got busted by a combination of DEA and the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, DEA and all that shit.
Wow.
Everybody got taken down, and they had a branch in London, and their manager there ended up with the keys to the kingdom as far as the board,
Oh yeah.
and it was reborn as IC Mag. Gypsy Nirvana. He was the London guy of Overgrow, and he wasn't involved because he was in another continent. This was
Wow.
strictly a North American deal, and that's how. Anyway, they grabbed him in Manila about 3 years later, and he was in jail for what, 3 years?
He beat
I
the
mean,
case though. He's one of the only people to
yeah, he got out.
back
Yeah,
on a case
he
against.
got out. He beat the case.
And you
But
can
man,
go.
he had warrants from Interpol, United States, Canada, England. I mean, yeah, he flew into Manila and boom, he got him.
Wow.
Yeah,
If
I interviewed him right after he beat his case, like 2 weeks after. If anyone wants to hear his fresh version of it right after he won.
you know, the thing is, when you're at that level of notoriety and you take a hit, you got to wrap it up. I mean, you can't roll the dice again because nobody's that lucky.
You can, you just need to change countries.
Well, that and your identity, the whole, yeah.
Yeah, and like go into witness protection and like be gone.
No, you don't, I wouldn't do that, but well, first of all, don't get popped. Don't
That's
do
the
stupid
idea.
shit. Don't do stupid shit.
Right. Yeah.
But on the other hand, when I got involved in this when I was a young man, even if you did get popped, you weren't doing 11 years minimum. You might do 2 years. Even that was
Yeah.
on a federal. I mean, it wasn't like these draconian going to put you away for 9, 10 years because you had 50 pounds of weed.
Right.
And now, well, for several years now, you have to do 80% of your sentence. You don't, there's no early outs. Well,
Oh,
you do 80%. So if you get, say, 120 months, you're going to do 96.
I'm good.
Yeah. That's
I
it. Don't get popped.
yeah,
Yeah.
I already did time in 5 years in the fucking Minnesota penitentiaries. I don't need to do any more of that.
No.
But it was 5 years of being with a blue card, not a red one. But I'll be honest, Jim, it wasn't a hell of a lot different.
What does that mean?
I was a staff member. I was a therapist there.
Oh, I see. Okay. I didn't know what you meant.
Oh, that's okay. You know, we had blue tags, and
I
the other
see.
and
Okay.
what they called the inmates they called them the offenders, which I hate. And anyways, they had red ones.
I see. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, so I used to say to these guys, I used to say the difference between me and you is I got a blue tag and you have a red one, and you carried through on decisions that were poor, and I rethought them and didn't follow through on them, and I did better. I made better choices. That's it. Didn't get caught. I mean, you can't say that to them though. Oh, you just don't get caught, guys. That's criminal thinking in psychology.
What I find outrageous is in this country you have 50 states, which means you have 50 different cannabis laws.
Right.
in one state, you get caught with an ounce, you can do time.
Right?
In another state, you can walk around with 24 ounces on your person like this one. I mean, it's crazy. There's
It
no
is crazy.
equity. There's no
No.
equity at all.
No.
I mean, it's nuts. See, I don't think this is what we have now is legalization. It's just another form of recriminalization or decriminalization. All they've done is change the rules so that the biggest amount of money goes to the state
Yep.
in the form of taxes.
Yep.
I mean, let's get real here.
That's the game for them.
That exactly. Once state legislatures figured out how to
They can
turn
make money.
cannabis into a revenue stream,
Then they wanted to legalize it.
they did in
Yep.
many states.
But they did
Ohio-
Minnesota. That's exactly
Ohio?
why. They're losing revenue.
Yeah.
To Michigan. And Wisconsin's still stupid as hell. But they're going to figure it out sooner or later because their people are jumping to Minnesota and they're jumping to fucking Michigan. They go on either side. Yeah, or down below, they go to Illinois too. It's ridiculous.
Then you take a state like Idaho. There is no medical marijuana allowed. I mean, nothing across the board.
Right?
So, and let's get, never mind.
I know.
It's an unfair system.
It is.
What legalization did in this state, I can only speak about this state because every state's different, but all they did was put the independents out of business.
Yeah. 100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Really did. That's how they do all the time when they want to get rid of the competition for an idea or whatever. They cut them off at the knees.
They did worse than that.
Oh,
I mean, there was a time, Poden can tell you, in California and Oregon, you had traveling, what do you call them? The people that cleaned up the buds. You know,
tenders or trimmers or
huh?
trimmers?
Immigrants.
Yeah, trimmers. Thank you, trimmers.
Trimmer
And
grants.
they
Oh.
would move. They had every year they'd go, the same farms. And I forget what they paid by the pound. I wasn't involved in that deal, part of it, but that's all gone. I mean, if you're growing under a license with all that it costs, you don't have time to dick around with dank. You got to turn out volume.
Right.
Because you've got a crew you got to pay for. I mean, one person can't handle an acre of plants. I don't care what you're growing. It's impossible.
Do an acre? An acre is only 2,500 plants.
Not here. We go by square feet. That's the
Just
advantage
here.
here. We don't do. We're not the commercial growers aren't limited by plant count here.
Oh, really?
I've done
Nope.
2,200 plants, 2,500, 2,800, and 3,000. 2,800 was about the best, but 2,500 is a little easier to manage.
Is it canopy that they're doing it? Up there, Jim?
No, well, yeah, it's all kinds of different things. When I did the first year with set people up, the first year it went legal, I did 800-gallon pots.
Wow.
With that amount of root mass, you got much bigger plants, and so
Oh, yeah.
the average was 9.5 to 10.5 pounds per plant.
Jeez.
But that wasn't enough. I can't stress the volume that comes off these farms now, and it has nothing to do with quality. It's bulk. This is just like any other fucking crop.
Yeah.
Let's say you're growing corn commercially, you're not growing the corn to make for the flavor. You want to grow the most corn you can to sell. See the
Right.
difference?
Yeah.
Tomatoes, the same thing.
Sure.
No, I'm going to grow these. These taste better. That isn't the way it works.
No.
And cannabis has been reduced. You know, when I was a young man, just in high school, it was pro cannabis, blah blah blah. We call it whatever. And our big chant was, they should treat cannabis or weed just like any other plant. Well, guess what? They did. Think of all the food that we eat that's grown with very little nutritional value because
Mhm.
the production is about how much can you grow.
Right.
Well, that's what cannabis is. If you want good weed, you better grow it yourself. Or be really tight with somebody that is willing to, throw off whatever you need.
Right. You know, the thing that's very frustrating to me is it's not that much more work to make good weed.
Nope.
Like
Easier.
it doesn't. It's
It's
easier.
easier.
Yeah. And I just
I mean,
don't.
it truly is set it and forget it.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know, people don't want to do that. They don't want to learn. Like for instance, soil construction. People, oh God, and then you get bugs and they're like, no, just slow down for a minute and listen to me. You try to explain to them. You buy the amendments, you make it yourself. You buy the cocoa, you learn how to make it. You learn what goes in the soil. You put your hands in the soil. It's good for your mental health. You only have to run it once. I know there's cocoa guys here, and there's people that run hydro, and I respect all forms, guys. I'm not getting into that argument. I'm only
My
indoors.
argument, here's the best argument
You know?
against hydroponics. I don't care if you're using Rockwell cubes. I don't care if you're using core. I don't give a shit.
Right.
Chemicals are chemicals are chemicals are chemicals are chemicals.
True. When they go below the salt line, that's it.
And
Salt.
the majority of tomatoes at the markets were, I don't know about now with all this shit going on, were grown hydroponically. Okay, hothouse tomatoes.
Yeah.
Standard, developed in Holland.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The day that, and I was in the produce business at a wholesale level, the day that someone could bring me a tomato grown in a hothouse that tasted like a tomato, I'll buy
Out of
into
a
the whole
garden. Yeah.
No. I'm saying a commercial tomato that tastes like a tomato, meaning that
Right.
it was grown hydroponically. They
Right.
don't, but here's why. What do you do with a tomato? Well, you're going to slice it and put it on a sandwich, right? And
Right.
you're going to cover it with mayonnaise. You got
Right.
see, all this crap. You're not going to taste the tomato. You just want to see it on your burger, right? Or whatever.
I eat them whole, so I eat them out of my garden. But yeah, I'm different.
That's right. That's a different tomato. I'm talking about ones that are grown commercially.
I know,
hydroponically.
Jim. I'm following you, Jim. I'm following you completely. Like the shit at McDonald's, or you get fucking a tomato anywhere.
Anywhere.
I know.
Okay, at one point we had Red Robin account. They paid University of California at Davis to develop a tomato that they got extra slices that were one consistent size. That's how anal they were. But the tomato, they created a tomato genetic that would fit on the top of their burgers. And then contracted with hot houses up in British Columbia, which were the Dutch technology.
To make them exactly like that, plant after
Yes.
plant after plant after plant after plant.
Right.
Homogeneous plants because we want the same size fucking tomato. We don't care how good it is. But
no, that had nothing to do with it.
we don't care if it's healthy, if it's going to create some kind of weirdness in you. We don't know, but
right. I mean, it's just.
And free food. You know, they got rid of the free fruit trees in town and cities. A lot of the poor people, a lot of the homeless people could eat.
Yeah.
You pick that fruit right out. A lot of it, and now they've gotten rid of it all. To clean up
these
the city.
pictures I've seen of farms with the fields, they just right now because they can't get workers. I mean, just the amount of food rotting.
Oh, but don't you know, Jim, that they're stealing all our jobs? All the people that right. All the people that are picking vegetables and everything are stealing all our jobs. All That's why these white guys can't get jobs. Fucking fuck me, man. Whatever. That's some bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Come
I
on.
do.
What
No,
the
I
fuck?
do. It's absurd.
It is absurd, man. But you know, I don't. You know, I'm not judging anybody for like running grows or getting money in the gray or the black or the white. However you got to do it, and whatever you got to do. There's a lot of life circumstances that bring us to the choices we have.
Well,
No judgment here.
Here's part of the problem. Americans as a group have these weird fucking ideas about what's going on in the world today. They think of Mexico as a bunch of poor people that look, Mexico is a big powerhouse on agriculture, on
Yeah, they
manufacturing.
are.
American car companies have factories in Mexico that make cars for the
Yes, they
American
do.
market.
Yes, they do.
The attitude of Americans is mind-boggling.
It is.
They still think of people in China are living in grass huts and they're barely getting enough rice to watch a video on what's going on at the harbor, the infrastructure. I mean,
And
all of it.
as their kids kick our kids' asses in math and science and mechanical and engineering and watch them kick our ass, right? And music, everything else. And oh yeah, they're just so behind over there. Well, it's built in China. It must be a piece of crap. It's funny. Well, then why did you let them go over there and build it? That's a whole other conversation. But yeah, I don't know. I come from a varied background. I've done mental health a lot of years, and I've done financial planning. I sold insurance for 5 years. I did a lot of. I've not a lot of things, but I've been in different markets, right? Different kinds of businesses, different kinds of fields.
I grew up
And
in Southern California. I couldn't tell you, I could name them on one hand the number of cities that did not have a Spanish origin. Buena Park, Costa Mesa, San Juan Capistrano, San Clemente.
right.
I mean, it just goes on. And I went to a school, La Habra High School, 4,000 students, 1,000 were Mexican American who had been in Southern California longer than any of our
Right.
parents who came from the East
Exactly.
to California because it was warm after World War II.
Right.
I mean, I don't get all this racism. Racism costs money.
Yeah, it does.
And the motherfuckers that own these farms that were on the payroll
Terrible.
that voted for this shit. Now they want the government to bail them out. I have zero sympathy. Because these aren't farmers like, the husband and wife and the kids. We're talking mega 4, 5, 6,000 acre farms with combines
farm.
run by satellite.
Corporate
We're not
farm.
talking
Drones.
a mega farm. Yeah.
Yeah. Sprinklers turned on by fucking Wi-Fi.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
drones.
it's
These
crazy.
drones that fly over it and take pictures like every 10 square feet, and then
Yeah.
it's all put together. And then the crop managers can take a look and see if there's any problems with the infestation, because you can't walk 6,000 acres. I mean, that's what.
Even to ride it would take them hours. To get in the fort, a side by side and drive, it would take them hours.
Yeah.
Like the ranchers used to ride their horses, right? They'd ride the fence line.
Exactly.
Yep. Well, looking for wolves, right? Looking for stray cattle, looking for
When
right.
this whole thing, all this, last election, we're going to get rid of the beaners, the spicks, whatever they call them. Okay. I kept thinking, so who's going to pick these crops?
Who's going to feed America?
I mean,
They right. They pick 90% of our vegetables. What the fuck?
I'm surprised it's that low.
I think it's 95 or 98.
Yeah. I mean,
migrant workers. They're not all biracial or Hispanic or of different origin, right? There's some white, very few, but there is some.
Well, that was the jobs that poor people in the 30s had during the
Yes.
Depression. The
Yeah.
Okies. They came
Yeah.
out to California because there was more crops grown in California than there were in Oklahoma.
That makes sense.
Well, over a couple generations, they didn't have to do that kind of work anymore. Their kids went to college. Anyway, you get the
Right.
idea.
Went to school,
So
they got
it was-
educated. Sure.
This thing has been a political football for the past 75 years.
Sure.
The Bracero program in the 50s and through the 60s, where a certain amount were allowed in for heart. I mean, look, it's just an unpleasant truth. White
Yeah.
people advanced financially enough that they didn't have to work.
Yep.
White people couldn't do it. I
They
mean,
were
can you
poor
imagine
before that,
working in?
though.
Could you imagine working in 9,500-degree heat picking
I've done it.
radishes?
I've
Exactly.
not picking radishes, but I've been in the
Well,
military.
whatever. Yeah.
Crazy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no
Yeah.
way. At my age, even at like 40, I wouldn't have done. There's no way.
No.
No, Jim. When I was out of work here and there, right in between jobs, I took jobs that I could. And there was one time we were covering over a landfill with that thick rubber sheeting, and they got to pull it up with a machine with a fucking backhoe.
Right.
Yep. And we would have these modified vice grips, and there was 12 of us pulling on a sheet, walking up this 120 degrees. You know, it's 100 degrees in Minnesota, but on that black shit, it was reflecting off at about 120. So we were dying. That's the last time I was working that hard in that kind of heat, and I was 30. It was before I started selling insurance, and I was like, hell no, hell no, I'll never do that. Or I was 20. No, I was 23. I was kicking my ass then. That's hard work, but it would be 12-hour days in that sun all summer. But first you pull the felt, so there's like a felt lining over landfills, and then the rubber membrane, then sand. Then they put sand on the top of that. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So, but yeah, many people they wouldn't do that, and I think I got paid $12 an hour, and that was good money, Jim. Back then, it was like 2001, was it? 2000? No. Oh, hell no, that would have been 95. Sorry. My daughter had just been born. That's what it was. Because I had to keep working because I had to pay the rent, I remember. We had just had a baby girl. So we had a son and a baby girl. Anyways, it was crazy. But nowadays, kids, it'd be unheard of, right, Jim? People would be like, no, I'm not doing that. And I was a professional guy that was between work. I just needed to pay the mortgage and buy groceries. I didn't have a choice. And then I found another job. So we started working in the schools with kids as a social worker. But anyway, that's a long story.
No, I don't. The story of the human race is one of you don't like the people that live over the hill, and if they look different, then you really don't like them. I mean, that goes back thousands of years.
Right.
I mean, racism isn't anything new.
Right.
And it seems to go in cycles.
Yeah.
Looking at it from a historical perspective.
Yeah. And this enslavement has been cross-cultural for years, right? I mean, you've got natives that have been enslaving native folks in every continent, in every country, right?
Yeah, it's universal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Native Americans were enslaving native other tribes right next door. In fact, bands. They would attack their own people if they had to.
Yeah.
And take their women from them and stuff. It was crazy. I don't like you. You shouldn't be I should have been the chief. So then they attack him and kill him and take his wife, and now he's the chief. What are they going to do about that? Vikings did that shit all the time, right? Stabbed each other in the back, all kinds of crazy shit. So what we're seeing now is not anything new, is what I'm saying,
No,
Jim,
it
right?
isn't. No, it is. You're right.
Yeah, it's just they're just more ballsy nowadays. Nowadays they just put it on the media and they don't care. Because now they got fake news they can call it fake news.
Well, there's no shame
Yep. Yeah, modesty isn't even a word anymore.
or decorum. I mean, how can you have people like, but I don't mean the personalities, but people that just spew hate about everything, any other group, any other, like they're subhuman. They're
Yeah,
taking my job. No, you don't have a job because you didn't get off your fucking ass and go get one.
exactly.
I mean,
Right?
that's the deal.
Yeah. Because they're taking jobs you'd never do anyway, bud. Even so.
Right. No.
Yeah. I just when people say that, I just and then I had someone say to me recently about how a woman with two kids in Minnesota on AFDC and on assistance, right, and on food
Oh,
is making $6,900 a month. I said, "You're crazy." I said, "Really? Let me check that out." So I go on the Minnesota AFDC site, right? I go on the SSDI site,
I bet it's closer to 2,500
right, on the high side
on the, yeah,
with food stamps and all full,
yes, right,
yeah, with three kids,
right.
yeah, barely start, like barely beyond, poverty
Poverty.
level, like starving. Fuck
Absolutely.
yeah, just like oh, these people, these women are getting rich, having all these kids, dude. They don't get more money because they have kids or more kids. They don't get more money. If you have more kids. It's not how it works. These people are crazy. Anyways, so I corrected him. I'm like, nope. And he's like, oh, well, I didn't know. I'm like, oh yeah, where'd you get that? Off AI. I said, really? Hmm. Yeah, I got off AI off of Twitter.
Yeah, right.
Well,
Twitter.
they do have an AI off of Twitter.
I know Grok. I know.
Yeah, Grok. Yeah. Yeah, boy, that's accurate. A bunch of opinions on Twitter.
It's crap.
Bunch of shit.
It's crap.
I
Why would
mean,
anybody want to do business with a guy that gives Nazi salutes at a political rally? That's
oh
the part I
no,
don't
I was
get.
just playing around, Jim. I
No,
wasn't.
no, no. I'm talking about in
No,
general.
I'm being facetious. I'm saying he was saying he was just playing around. He was just joking about it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you joke about that kind of shit where I come from, you're not making it home.
Hey, that piece of shit truck of his, the Cybertruck,
Yeah,
2 years into it, you already have lost at least 50%.
your initial investment.
Yeah, so 100 grand and then another 20 is for the foundation, so what the foundation. So you out the door at 120. Okay?
For the ugliest,
Right.
God, that thing is
And
terrible.
now today, 2 years later, you would be lucky to get 50,000
The resale is like in the floor, man.
in the floor.
But sure, because he's fucking Elon stinky lion sack of shit. I'm sorry. Did I say that
Yeah,
out
he
loud?
is.
Did I say
He
that out
is.
loud? Nazi sympathizer, bigot,
Yeah.
billionaire with a bad case of ego. Yeah, I don't know, whatever you want to call him. I, you know, what's really sad is he was able to operate in our country and do a lot of damage.
Doge, Department of Government Efficiency or some shit.
Yeah,
Yeah. I was in a Tesla one time as a passenger, not as a driver, so I didn't
great.
drive it.
Yeah,
But So this was in the era of, it would have been probably a 2015
Yeah.
at the oldest. I mean, yeah, because this was 2016, so it couldn't have been over a year old. That's what I'm saying. So let's say it's a 2015. All right. You had this big screen that looks like two iPad Pros stuck together right in the middle of the dash. I mean, talk about distracting. You got all kind. It depends what you want to play on it. I mean, news. Some people like play Fox News or some stupid shit like that. Can you imagine driving around in your car and having this big monitor right in the middle of your dash?
And that's not a distraction.
And that was in the days when they were still struggling with charging stations. That's been resolved, but in 2016,
That's
it was a
great.
major problem
That's funny.
to try to
Yeah,
figure out, okay, where can I go get this piece of shit charged? I'm
Could you
talking about
imagine?
yeah.
Can you imagine driving it off there and before you go, you don't even know where you're going to get it recharged? What the fuck?
Exactly. Yeah.
What kind of business is that? That's funny.
Well, okay, let's say I bought one. And to go to the Oregon coast, which is something we like to do a lot. So the round trip is about 220 miles. Hey, if you do any driving once you get there, I'm just talking if you just drive to the coast, park your car, and then come right back, it's that much. If you drive up and down the coast going to a city, you want to go down here. Anyways, you can easily, you got to recharge your battery. And if you're not charging at your house and you're paying at a charging station,
Right?
the price is really different, big time.
I bet it is.
And finding one, especially if you get a more remote area, like we don't, this isn't like Southern California where you got cities. We got like hamlets on the coast,
Right.
2,000 people, 3,000 people, that kind of stuff, 800 people, those kind of cities. But they're going to have a charging station. I promise you. And if you have to go to a hotel, like you're gonna spend the night in a motel, some of them now have charging stations. You want to talk expensive. You figure out what you need to get to one of the cities on your way home. You don't do a full charge. And then it takes a half hour, 45 minutes once you plug it in.
What a great idea, Jim. We all should have those.
They didn't do well here. I'm
They
not
didn't.
saying you don't see them. You don't see many cyber trucks at all. Maybe if you see one every 2 weeks, that was a banner week for Tesla. But the other ones, sedans and coupes, whatever. There's a
The
fair
crazy
amount.
thing is we're going to have those pieces of shit. They're going to have to build the infrastructure because of the fucking laws they put in. We don't have a choice. By 2035, I think we got to have all electric cars. 10
That
years
is
from now.
2030 down, well, I guess 2030 in California.
Yeah, I think it's 2035 across the nation, isn't it?
The big
I guess.
issue right now, and will continue until it gets resolved, is how far you can go without recharging. That's the big issue. I mean, if you're just going to use it as a commuter car around town, no problem. 300, 350, you're dancing. You're in good shape. Okay?
But what if
But
you're
if you
rural
want-
like me?
Right. It's not going to happen. Every time you go somewhere, you got to figure out where am I at? How much of it am I going to need? Where's it? It just isn't happening.
Hey, what will happen, Jim? You're going to have underground people like Red Barchetta, like the song by Rush. People like me learning how to convert fucking plastic to gasoline, running a fucking private car somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Guarantee you. Fuck that.
if you have one, I'm not the Cybertruck, not that shit, but just a regular,
Yeah.
4-seater, and you're using it as a commuter car,
Mhm.
then putting a charger in isn't that much money.
Right.
And now you're talking some real efficiencies. But if
Mhm.
you have to say drive, well, in Southern California, man, doing 60, 80 miles one way to work isn't out of the norm.
Right.
You're constantly having to watch where you're at on power and where your next area, and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
I think hybrid's the real answer. Hybrid, you're going
Yep.
to get around 50 miles a gallon. That's a good thing.
Mhm.
Then you don't have the problem. You can always find gasoline.
Yep. Mhm.
Well,
There you go.
But they're a big investment. The Mercedes has an all electric SUV. I mean, without any bells and whistles, it's like $1.25. And what the fuck? Even if you put it on 12-year contract, you're paying what, 10,000 a year before interest?
yeah.
What about all these guys in Arkansas and stuff that are these farmers that are completely fucked now? I mean, 25% of American agriculture is soybeans, and not a single pound of it is a buyer right now.
Right.
Wow.
And their harvest season is coming up at the end of September. They'll start harvesting. Harvest has already started in the deep south, and then it just moves north. Um, but Arkansas, Missouri, and here's the problem. In some of those states, they had a banner year, but there's no market. You got all this, you got to sit in silos, and you can't
Gonna rot.
store. It rots. Oh, you live there. You live in the goddamn Midwest. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Some commodities you can. You can't with soybeans.
Potatoes or soybeans.
Right.
You have to process it. We don't have a place to process it.
Right.
Not like that. Not at that level.
We could just make soy sauce.
Right?
Oh yeah, lots of it.
Let's
Well,
go.
they use it for animal food, but here's the problem. You could probably find a market for it, but cattle ranchers aren't going to pay you food prices for their cow feed.
Right.
That's the reality.
Because they have to
A
make
lot of-
some money.
Yeah, but you're not even at break even if you're
Oh, I
selling
know.
it as for
I
cattle
know.
feed. Yeah.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. They have to have room because they have to make something.
Right.
Yeah, they have to earn a living and pay their bills somehow. So you can't be getting it for what they're selling it
Well,
for.
also the tariffs is raising the price on farm equipment because even though John Deere may build it in Indiana,
Prices
whatever.
parts are made in China, man.
Exactly.
All
And
of our
so,
parts are made in China and the Far
and
East.
how this guy has convinced a lot of Americans that a tariff means that the country of origin is paying it.
People
We're
are
really
just
going to show
stupid.
those Chinese. No, it's the
Look up tariff on the AI, dummy.
well,
Yeah,
it's paid by the importer, and the importer turns around and charges the wholesaler, and the wholesaler turns around and charges the retail customer.
right.
China doesn't pay anything because you put a 100% tariff on something. It's
Right.
when it lands here, the person ordering it, the company, the broker, the importer,
Right.
and then it just flows downhill to ends up that the consumer is the one that pays the tariff.
Yep. Which is us usually.
Us, exactly.
Americans, we consume more than anything, more than countries combined.
Oh,
You know?
absolutely.
We're gonna. No, it's not gonna. And same with Canada. Canada are the second largest consumer.
Yeah.
They're getting their asses handed to you guys up there, right? Yeah, when your buck's worth 60% of ours, and ours ain't worth a fuck.
Yeah.
Gonna be bad. We could be looking at some bad times coming up. These people, what if they're living in la la land or what? But God
I don't
bless.
know what they're, I don't know what, I have no idea.
The hell they're thinking, right, Jim?
Exactly. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. None of
That's
it.
fucking crazy.
If
And-
China was paying tariffs or any other kind, whatever country, if they were
Right.
paying the tariff, then I could understand. I wouldn't, I say I agree with it, but I could see, the road. But when I'm going to make the Americans pay more for everything they buy,
Right,
and that's going to punish you? How?
right, right.
I mean, what the fuck?
That's crazy, right?
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
But then you have like Canada right now. I don't know if it's province level, I'm not sure, but anyway, they put a ban on American bourbon. Well, they're pinpointing a specific state that's really a big Trump state, Kentucky. And so
Right,
they've closed down two major producers of whiskey, bottlers, two.
wow.
This employs like 40,000 people, the bourbon business in Kentucky. I don't know, man.
Crazy, man. That is
Yeah.
crazy.
I gotta step out, but it was fun as always. I will see you guys next week.
Hey,
Yeah,
John.
maybe we should just cut her off here.
Have a good one.
Okay.
All right, guys. Yep. Have a good night, fellas.
All right.
Good
Thanks
night,
for having
Robert.
me.
Have a good one, man.
All right, guys. Take
Have a
care.
good one. Cheers.